Economic Development and Culture Committee meeting. It is May 18th, 2021. The meeting is called to order at 6:35 p.m. My name is Marissa Mack. I am the chair. I hope you guys are all well and enjoying this wonderful weather with or without your mask, however you feel most comfortable. Please also mute your phones if you can, and or your computers, which would be very helpful as this is being recorded. I am joined this evening by our district manager, Angel Muscane, the staff liaison to our committee. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe a few ground rules. First, no one may speak until granted the floor. This is just to help with the flow of the meeting. Community Board 11 members, if you have any questions about board business or wish to make any motions, please raise your hand through the Zoom function. If you are unable or unaware of how to do that, please just send us a little note. But at this time, I think everyone has been Zoomed out, so hopefully you are all very knowledgeable about how to move that along. When a member is given the floor to speak, I will identify you. If you can unmute yourself at that time so you can speak, please do so. Please keep your questions and comments succinct and germane for the discussion. Just to the point, we have a very lengthy agenda, which I'm happy about this evening, but we also don't want to be here until 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. Members of the public, if you have any questions or comments about the subjects on the agenda, please raise your hand through Zoom and you will be recognized. So Angel, will you be able to take attendance by roll call?
Certainly. Adem Briha. Marissa Mack.
Here. Present.
Giselle Malave.
Here.
Dawn Sanders.
Here.
Vinnie Torres. Jenny Tromsky.
Here.
And Nye Whitaker.
Here.
Thank you. You have quorum.
Perfect. Thank you, Angel. And so the agenda was previously distributed to the committee members. If there are no objections, we will proceed. If anyone objects to the agenda, please raise your hand and we will acknowledge you. Okay, I see no hands raised, so we will move forward. And the meeting minutes were also forwarded in a draft form. Are there any objections to the meeting minutes? If so, please raise your hand and I will acknowledge you. Okay, seeing no objections, we are moving right along. So again, as I mentioned, we have a full meeting this evening with some great information about things that are going on in the community. I first wanted to actually just speak about a call that I was on. I believe Jackie and Carrie were also on the call in regards to additional funding that may be available for not-for-profit organizations, not only within our community, but throughout the state. The call was actually held through Ponce Bank. Please do not call them. They just held the informational session about a grant program, again, offered by SBA. It's called the Community Navigator Pilot Program. The program will be launched. It has not launched yet, but the program is looking to stir up more entrepreneurship and financial support through community partners. And so it's an opportunity for organizations to apply again for grant funding. This is through SBA. And it's an opportunity for organizations to partner to get out more information and to create programs to help individuals with their entrepreneurship initiatives throughout the community, and then also to help facilitate more financial literacy and build up communities. So I will pass around the information that was received on this program. Again, please do not contact Ponce Bank. They are overwhelmed with PPP initiatives at this point, but it is another source of funding that is coming up that I do suggest you look into at this time. Additionally, SBS will be coming to our community to answer questions and or refer you to someone to answer questions. And I'm sure Carrie and Pablo will speak more about this as well. But they will be here on May 20th between 11 and 1 p.m. on 215 East 116th Street to answer questions. They will have someone there from their compliance department, which I know is what should be very helpful to go over any of the concerns and needs of the small businesses in our community. So hope you can all come out for that. Additionally, I've had a few conversations with small businesses within the area, just in general, about opening back up, the state of the community, how they're doing as a business, what are some things that they feel the community and the board might be able to do to assist and to help them. And so I'm just opening the lines of communication up for any businesses that are within the community. Of course, we have our great resources in Cary and Uptown Grand Central, and obviously Union Settlement and Pablo and Jackie as well. But also wanted to just make the Economic Development and Culture Committee a resource for organizations to speak to as well, and just to offer any information or any ideas you have about ways that we can improve the community for residents and then also for businesses. So I am going to open the floor up to, I think next we have Carrie King. We have Uptown Grand Central. I guess Angel, if you could move the slide forward to our presentation.
Sure. I'm sorry. I was actually going to ask if you're seeing the slide. I'm having a little trouble with my monitor, but you're just seeing the slideshow?
I'm seeing the first slide that just has economic development. Yep.
Perfect. That's what I wanted. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and I will move that forward.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Yes. All right. So Carrie, you have the floor.
Sure, and I won't keep you too long because I know there's a lot of people to speak, but just to give everybody updates on just the overall picture of small businesses in East Harlem right now. As you know, the money from the federal government is flowing. It's amazing to see the difference that this can make in sustaining communities and sustaining individuals and businesses. So the PPP is open technically until the end of May, but most of the larger banks have, the SBA has cut them off from accepting applications. At this point, it's just the CDFIs that are accepting them, and they're being so overwhelmed with applications. I know Ponce Bank is closing their application tomorrow, Wednesday at 5 p.m. And most other banks have closed at this point. We've got a few beauty businesses that we're still trying to get in. So we'll see. They took in, I think, 1,000 applications in the past 24-hour period is what we heard on the call today. But the PPP money is still available, at least for a few more hours. And then also the Restaurant Revitalization Fund opened. For the first 21 days, it's open to minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, which really gives East Harlem a leg up, which is super. And at least all the restaurants I know were really on it in terms of getting their applications in, because the calculation is amazing. It's basically whatever you made in 2019, which we're assuming is decent, and then what you made in 2020, which we're assuming is not decent. And you can basically get the difference between those 2 years, which is just an incredible gift. So most of the businesses have applied for that at this point. So that's on the federal level. And then on the state level, the eviction moratorium, the other big looming thing is the eviction moratorium for commercial businesses that's been extended until August 31st. We know, based on data recently collected from MIU, that about 80% of East Harlem businesses are behind on rent. So the implications of what this is going to mean in August is really concerning. We are going to be holding a webinar with the Legal Aid Society in the next few weeks to help businesses understand how to protect themselves. With this iteration of the eviction moratorium, you have to file a hardship declaration in order to be protected. That was not part of the original eviction moratoriums for commercial businesses, but it is now. So we're going to try to help our businesses understand how to be protected, but it is a big concern. So hopefully some of this federal money can help alleviate some things. And there are some programs, Curtis might be able to speak about them at the state level and also the city level that are going to come to help a little bit with rent relief. And then also at the state level, our businesses advocated to get FEMA money. There was some FEMA money available, also from the federal government, that through the advocacy of Giselle, who's on this call, and Robert Rodriguez's office, we were able to get that written into the state budget. So that's coming down. That's FEMA money that will help the businesses create emergency meals, kind of on the World Central Kitchen model. So we're still awaiting to hear how that will be allocated and what the application process will be. But I know the Assemblyman's office is working on some policy tweaks to make sure that it's rolled out in an effective way that can be targeted toward East Harlem. So those are all really good things. In terms of programming, we, as Marissa said, the SBS van is going to be coming on Thursday. It's going to be targeted specifically to a lot of the Mexican businesses on 116th, many of whom have language issues and may or may not have been able to completely grasp all of the programming that we're talking about, all the federal and the state money that we're talking about. And then also in terms of programming, the Open Street is open again at 101st Street. And some of the other streets in East Harlem are going to be opening soon. So stay tuned for that. At 101st Street, the hours are Friday evenings and then Saturday and Sunday afternoons. In collaboration with Union Settlement, we have live music, we have Zumba. It's exciting because last year we were basically able to set out the tables and chairs, and that was it. And this year, with some of the vaccination rates up and programming is now becoming allowed. So I think this year the open streets are going to be even better than last year, if that's imaginable. And then on 125th Street, I'll just close with that. I could say a lot more, but on 125th Street, our focus has really been in the spring, really heavy emphasis on cleaning. As you know, this has always been a concern on 125th Street, and I think especially post-COVID, during COVID, but as we get out of COVID, it's a really big concern about people when they feel comfortable traveling on 125th Street. So we've had 2 community cleanup days already in partnership with Department of Sanitation. Sanitation is giving us a little bit of, they're throwing us a little bit of extra resources that they used to not be able to. We're power washing the 125th Street Plaza for 2 hours every day, which is expensive, but also necessary. And then you may have seen that the murals on 125th Street are being repainted thanks to Bill Perkins, Diana Ayala, the Lower Manhattan Cultural Council, and SBS. We are redoing the whole thing. It got tagged during COVID. So all of the Durst property is being repainted, as well as we got permission to do all of Pathmark. So if you travel up there, you're going to see we're not able to do the big gathering this year that we normally did in the past. And instead, what we're doing is we're priming sections, and then the artists will come do it on different days. And that makes them feel a little bit more comfortable with the independence of painting individually. And then it's also just kind of exciting because you can pass by and see the new murals. If you check the Uptown Grid Central Instagram, you'll see that a new mural of DMX is going up right now. They've got 4 different artists painting. So stay tuned for that. We're trying to make it feel safe, clean, vibrant, and all the things that 125th Street needs to be.
Carrie, thank you so much for your continued work. I was waiting to hear when open streets are coming to Pleasant Avenue again, but you guys did a great job last year with that. So you guys are doing so much great work in the community on 125th Street. We see it and we appreciate it. And thank you for everything that you're doing for the small businesses.
Of course. Should I answer a question in the chat, or I forget the rules of how we do it?
Yes. So does anyone have any questions? Okay, so.
Hi, it's Dawn. I'm so sorry.
Oh, hi, Dawn. Okay.
There is a question now, but I started to put wow and wonderful, and I forgot we were supposed to state what we have to say for the record. So for the record, I'm just so impressed with Carrie and Uptown Grand, and just so, it's just wonderful what you're doing. And how you're always improving on what you did before, and it's just it's been a blessing. So I didn't put all that in the chat, but just saying it out loud.
Yes, we're saying out loud, so that's better. That's the thank you so much. Xavier.
Yes, Carrie, thanks so much for talking about the open streets, and also they had the salsa band out there this weekend. It was really a lot of fun. Depending on how things go over this summer with the block, the International Puerto Rican Heritage Film Festival is primed to help do its Saturday screenings with its Road to the Festival and this partnership. So we're really trying to activate that space. And thank you, Carrie, for all you're doing, and for CB11's involvement. Come out.
Thanks, Xavier. Thank you so much. Okay, are there any other raised hands for questions? Okay.
There was a question from Marina about the funding in the chat, and I just wanted, is that okay for me to answer it?
Yes, and just for a note for going forward, if we can just raise our hands so that the so that we can hear people actually saying their question. But Carrie, sure, go ahead.
Marina was asking if any of the property owners on 125th Street are helping with the mural project. They are all contributing towards the street cleaning, which I will tell you is incredibly expensive. We are now out there cleaning from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. 2 guys in the morning and 1 in the afternoon, and it's a lot of money. And I think comparatively to other commercial districts, we are spending more. Our budget is a higher percentage of our budget is spent on street cleaning than other business districts. And in large part, it's because of the inputs that we have on the corridor. So they are contributing, just to answer that question. And y'all come up and see the murals because they're awesome.
Carrie, one other quick question, and I know this is a sticky topic and a sticky question, and maybe I'll talk with you later, but you know, how has the conversation, or has the conversation of you know, bid in that area, how has that been, or has that even been brought up because of the current climate conditions?
The city has a very small bid team, and so it takes a long time to get the whole thing going. There is interest from both the city and some of the stakeholders to get that going, and the benefit of that is, just so people who don't know, the benefit of that is then it's actually codified into city law that the property owners in that specific block and lot district have to pay a certain assessment that then goes to street cleaning. So East 125th Street for so long has been vacant with the huge vacant lots. It's not been considered an area for such a program, which also contributes to us not having enough money for street cleaning. So the goal is to work through that, and we are getting increased interest. So I think
well, please let us know how we can, you know, assist. I know this is something that's been a topic for many years, and it's something that can't come from the outsiders. It needs to come from the people that are actually, you know, right on 125th Street. But please, as a committee and as a full board, please let us know always how we can help and support with that.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Okay, so Pablo, are you on? Is he on?
I'm here.
Hi, Pablo. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How is everyone?
Good. And actually, I forgot to mention that we did get out our letter of support for the redistribution of the funds for the grant. So hopefully you can give us an update this evening on how that is going as well.
Believe it or not, after our last meeting, there is no change. It's still the same status quo. I'm waiting for any advances on that. The only thing I can mention is regarding what is called the second phase of the grant, which is a portion that is included on the letter from Community Board 11. All approvals, with the exception of EDC, have been received, and as soon as EDC says it's okay, we are ready to provide what I call the kicker, which is going to be a complement to the original grant that is going to be offered only for those who received the grant. It's going to be more or less equivalent to 20%, and that's using the whole 700,000 that were left over from the first phase. That's how we are using the money. And we were planning to do a combination of a grant and a food.
And a loan?
No, not a loan, not
Okay.
a loan. The loan, let me finish with this.
Separate.
And then
Okay,
the loan.
yes. Mhm.
Yes, so the 700,000 that were left out, we're gonna do it, what we're gonna do is it's a equal distribution to everybody who applied. We're gonna give them a kicker, which according to our calculation might be somewhere between 20 and 25% of the original amount. That's how those funds is gonna be. It's been approved already by Diana. It's been approved by Union Settlement. It's been approved by SBS. Not approved, agreed upon with SBS. They don't have to approve it, but they have to agree upon. And it's only waiting for EDC to say yes. So as soon as they say yes, we're gonna provide that support to about 300 and something local businesses who received at a certain point the grant, and they're gonna be receiving it again. Any questions anybody has on that? Perfect. For the food drive that we were planning also to do some of that. Oh, let me hold that to that. Anybody has any question regarding the second phase of the grant? Okay. Now for the food drive, which is also part of the support letter by the community board, we decided not to push it too much because it's gonna be part of this program that you guys were talking before. It's the New York State Fund that are coming through Robert Rodriguez.
Is that the, I'm sorry, just to clarify, is that the I Love New York Restaurants program?
Exactly. They have to change the name. They don't want to call it I Love because it has some problem with prior franchising of the
I Love New York. Okay.
So they're going to change the name. But in principle, that's going to be the money that's going to be used for, hopefully, for the food drive. And we don't know much. Again, that's how we started the conversation. Is from our last meeting to now, there has not been any advances on that. It's the same situation at this moment. We're waiting, and the moment it comes out, we'll be glad to start working with the state, with Robert and Diana and EDC and WDC to see how we can put it together and make it available to the community. We don't even know if Union Settlement is gonna be a direct partner to it, but anyway, we're gonna put our hands and push as much as we can. Indirectly,
absolutely, yeah.
Or directly.
Thank you. No, absolutely. I think, with all of us being behind it, obviously we knew this is a statewide program, right? Not a city, which is different, but it's still important for us to see how we can also get a share of what will be out there for the entire state. So I think we are all watching to see and trying to figure out like what's next, and then how we can facilitate what's next now that we're opening back up and, kind of moving forward. So that's wonderful news that you guys have been able to, work out how you're going to give back the remaining funds for the grant, and then also working around the old I Love New York Restaurant program. I'll call it that until there's a new name. But looking forward to hearing how that will plan out, and of course, however the board can support in that initiative in the community.
Yeah. Now, as a good news for the committee, the general perception I have from comments and conversations with multiple businesses in the area is that the market is coming back. They are getting back to where they were before the pandemic in terms of volumes of customers, traffic, sales. We were bad anyway in sales. We've been always been behind sales. What we are telling is that they are coming back to those levels. And that's very good. I'm very happy to see that coming back. Anyway, everybody's dragging the month that it's been slow. So they do appreciate initiatives like the second phase of the grant and the New York, the I Love New York restaurant program. All these initiatives are going to be great to level them up to any arrears they've been accumulated for the last 4 or 5 months. So good to know that.
Perfect. Wonderful work. Thank you guys always for your dedication and your work around the community. And so we'll look to see the updates in regards to both of those programs.
I wanted to say something else because it has to do. I need some help from the community board on that. We've been working on a revamp program for 116th Street. So the program covers several aspects of commercial living. For example, I don't know if you have noticed, those who have driven or walked the area, we are giving a refreshment to the public planters, trying to make them nicer, not to continue to look like a trash can and be used like trash cans. So we are embellishing them and making them prettier. So I appreciate comments from you guys. If you pass by and you see it, no, we've been working on that for already, I believe, 2 weeks, and we're gonna continue to work on them until June 30th. I believe we may finish before that for the planters. In addition to that, we're gonna start a rat abatement program, and that's where I need your help. A rat abatement program. We hired a professional exterminator to undergo a 2-year program to avoid rats. For anyone that lives in the neighborhood and walking by 116 at night, it's really sad to see the amount of rats that are crawling around, and this crippling our businesses. It's not many people want to go there with so many rats. So that's another thing we're doing, the rat abatement. But there are 4 areas that are high touch, that are really creating the problem. And I would like later, not today, I just want to touch with you that if we have them pinpointed, if it's something we can do together with the community board to engage the property owners at those locations to see what can be done, why they're not doing anything. Maybe there is a reason, and if it's something we can help, we can do something together. And but I really would like to engage the community board on that initiative, and maybe you would like to give me a contact to follow up on that from this committee. Because it's economic development.
No, absolutely. And I also think it's us, but I also think it's public safety. We've been having this conversation on public safety for a while as well in regards to like the rats. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think I'll circle with you and Jose, and we'll see, and obviously, Angel as well, and we'll see, what can be done. But this is a conversation that has been brought up with public safety as well, because it is a public safety issue.
In addition to that, I was supposed to do this last week, but I really have only 2 hands.
Quickly, Pablo, because we got to move on. So we're going to wrap it up. But,
Don't worry then. I was just going to tell you what we are doing, but it's okay because it's a lot. So
let's do a side conversation about what we're doing and then how we can partner and what help the committee can offer on that initiative. But sounds good. And thank you so much. And we'll look out for the planters. Thank you, Pablo.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, Angel, can you forward to the next slide, please? Okay, great. So next, Marina Ortiz, East Harlem Preservation, and the Committee to Empower Voices for Hearing and Equality.
For healing
and equity. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Marissa. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for fitting me in. Sorry for the last minute request last month. So I'm here representing EHP and the committee. Want to thank the board for the past and present, for the support from past and present members of Community Board 11 regarding our efforts to remove and replace the Sim statue, which, as many of you know, was is a monument honoring a white Southern doctor who experimented on Black female slaves without anesthesia or consent. The board's efforts and contributions over the last decade were crucial to the success of the campaign, which culminated in the removal of the statue on April 17, 2018. To that end, we invite CB11 to continue to support our ongoing efforts for creating and erecting a new artwork and ask for your support in appealing to the city to move forward with the replacement. That means like it's been 3 years and counting. And the money was set aside before COVID, so COVID's not the answer. And throughout the COVID year and a half that we had, we were always assured that the money was there. It had not been taken back or anything, but no responses from Percent for Art. The new commissioner, Gonzalo Casal, said that, the decision was upstairs, or rather downstairs at City Hall. Anyway, so we're asking for your continued support. And I sent along a draft resolution. I'm not really familiar with the formatting, but that's some of the language in there that you may feel free to use. So we're asking the Economic Development Committee for support in the form of a resolution to call to the city and whatever commissioners to release the funds and let's get Vinnie Bagwell started on her beautiful, amazing project. Thank you. I wish I could see myself. I got a LED light and everything, and I can't see myself. What happened, Pablo? I mean.
So Marina, thank you. I'm not sure why. It looks like
it's not on our end.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Marina.
Really?
Something may be covering your camera. I'm not sure where you're logging in, or your computer. I'm not sure where you're logging in from. But thank you for presenting on this. I know this has been a longstanding push for the community. I do have one question in regards to the replacement of the statue. So who is looking to be in the place of the Marion Sims statue, and what is the history behind that?
So we had a community presentation by 5 artists. Only one was present, and she did a lot of work to create a replica of the installation. Her name is Vinnie Bagwell. She's known for doing a lot of tributes to African-American historical leaders. And she was the only one who came, and she waited 7 hours, sat through presentations that had just been, sent in. Beautiful concepts, many of them. But Vinnie Bagwell was the one who came and stayed, answered every single question, said she was open to adaptations, questions, etc. I'm sorry I didn't include an image of her installation. It's Black Victory. Is that something I can add in the chat? I don't know, but I'll send it to you. It's a beautiful figure it's a Black figure with wings and holding a medical staff. I forgot what it's called, which actually originated out of Africa and not Egypt or Greece, like a lot of people think. And so it's incorporating a lot of imagery around African-American women, power, freedom, healing, which is the name of our committee, Empower Voices for Healing and Equity. And so it's representative of everything that we would like to see our children learn about and admire and like as they walk down Central Park, rather than this statue of an old white guy who, butchered women. So we are planning a community event, a Zoom event with Vinnie Bagwell, and we invite the community board to join us. We will be able to get more information about her, where her contract is at, but also, of course, imagery of the proposal. But I can send that to you. I'm sorry I didn't, but it's on our website, ehp.nyc. You still can't see me, right? Oh.
And no, unfortunately, but I would say, so this sounds, the proposed statue sounds wonderful. I would hope that we would be able to see it. When do you plan on meeting with Vinnie? Will this be before June?
No, June, we have a community event. It's going to be, like I said, Zoomed. I believe it's June 24th. So in the meantime, we've been doing things to push the city. We had a procession on Dia de la Puente with African-American sister drummers. We went to the platform. We've been, trying to make noise and generate continued interest. I'm trying to see if people want to, use the footage that I have for over a decade, put together some kind of documentary. We really want to keep this story flowing. So Vinny's installation is not even the end of the story. It's the beginning, because she's going to make herself available to the community to do teach-ins. And certainly will be available to do tours and all that. It's going to be a continued story.
So I'm happy that you guys are pushing forward with this and moving this along. I would add, I think the community and the committee has been a supporter, of this initiative for a while. Happy to see that it has moved on and is no longer, in its place. What I would ask, if possible, because I think what would make for a more supportive letter is having the specifics to say this is the exact statue that will be replaced by Vinny
Bagwell.
This represents X, Y, and Z. This is that, only because I think just a letter requesting to move forward with this is nice, but there's nothing that says, please move forward with this specific initiative. We have this in place. We're ready to go, and we're ready to kind of, move forward with what we've already decided, or what is currently representing of our community.
Absolutely. I'll get that to you today, and hopefully the full board can make a decision soon. But just to let you know, Nilsa, the chair, Nilsa Rama, was at that community meeting, and she voiced a lot of concern because Vinny Bagwell wasn't the initial selection, because the panel that was, anyway, it's allowed. But Nilsa is aware, and she's seen it, but I will send all of that to you, no problem. I'll send that to you tonight so you can include it or review it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe I think what we can do is, if we can have all this information packaged together so that in our June meeting, we could, vote on a more comprehensive letter that has the entire breakdown of what we are specifically requesting. I think that's a lot more powerful than just, please move forward with this initiative without any concrete information. And please let me know how you feel. But I think that that's a more sellable letter than just a general letter.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll look for that information from you. I'll also circle back with you after the meeting, and then I think in June we would be able to kind of vote and see where we could move forward with this initiative.
Okay, and then as you know, the former
and hopefully see you on Zoom as well.
Yeah, the former chair, just in closing, Diane Collier was the one who really made this happen at the community board level.
Yes.
You were there, yeah.
I remember her involvement with this very heavily. So happy to see that it did make strides. And then we will look to support you, as well, going forward, should the committee decide to do so.
Oh, someone just posted links in the chat. So, but I will send you our package.
Yes,
and
perfect.
Thank you again, Marissa. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to jump off right now. So everyone else, you're safe.
But thank you for presenting and bringing this back to our attention, Marina. I know that this was, mentioned a while ago, and we kind of shifted, obviously, because of COVID and other needs. But I'm happy to see that this is something that's, still being discussed. I know you guys have been discussing it, but still being discussed. And we will look to see what we can do in terms of voting on a letter in June.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Xavier, I see your hand. Xavier?
Yes, thank you, Marissa, and thank you, Marina, for presenting. We had received those community partners, of which CB11 is one, received a letter from Marina, Indigo, Safia, and Padmore about re-engaging, and I will be responding as to availability. Sitting on that, but I think Marina covered most of the updates, the big thing has just been about making sure that Ms. Bagwell receives all of the paperwork so she can be activated and start the work. So everything's that's where we are. So any members who have further questions, I'm sure Marina and myself will be more than willing to engage. But yeah, we just received that letter from the group, the heads of our committee. And I want to thank everyone for staying steadfast during this process.
Yeah, I have a question for you, Xavier. When you say you're going to sit in, I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Padmore sent a letter at 3 p.m. this afternoon about asking for our capacity and availability and to respond by Friday, May 21st, to remain active with the committee or if we have questions.
Oh,
so that's what I'm referring to. Yeah. So that's what I'm referring to is that letter that was signed by all four of you.
No, I apologize. I thought you were referring to the June 14th event.
No. And of course,
well, thank you both for your information on this topic. And again, Marina and Xavier, please send what you have in regards to the specifics of the replacement, and then we can move forward in that manner.
Thank you
both. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Okay, thanks, Marina. Good night.
Good night.
Okay, so next, hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. All right. So great. So up next we have Curtis Archer from HDC, Harlem Community Development Corp. And Curtis, we know that you guys have been doing some great work throughout the pandemic, even before the pandemic. So wanted to have you here to talk about some of the initiatives that you guys are working on to help out the community.
Okay. Well, thank you, Marissa. And thank you for really having me. And Marissa, in the future, you do not hesitate. You just call me and say, Curtis, get there. All right. You know, I come when you call for sure.
You do. Thank you.
Man. And I'm so happy to see a number of friends. I can't see their faces. The only one I can see is Carrie. How you doing, Carrie? All right. And do tell Carrie, who was that little one that you were hanging out with?
Oh, that I don't know. Marissa's gonna let me deviate to that.
That's the man of the house.
Gotcha. Very nice. Very nice. And also, let me just go on the record and say that Harlem CDC has funded and will continue to fund the good work that Uptown Grand Central does. Okay. Bottom line, they know that they are rocking it big time. In addition, I want to say in terms of East Harlem, Union Settlement, no slouch. We're there for them. We're also there for Hope Community. So Sandra, I see that you're there listening in and whatnot. I hope you're doing well. But yes, we are definitely very, very supportive of the nonprofit organizations in East Harlem doing good work and providing community and small business support. We will continue to do that. I basically wanted to say, and you guys kind of like know my history, that I've literally have been a Harlemite since 1980. And Marissa, you know, when I do this, right? This is not Wakanda. This is the BX, okay? So I'm originally from the BX, but I've been a Harlemite since 1980, and so I no longer have to show ID. I'm pretty good now, okay? And I've been at Harlem CDC, as you know, since 2006. I have served not one, not two, but 4 different governors. So let's just say, having played basketball at Riverbank State Park against Mario Cuomo, I can say that he is not, Andrew is not his father, but that's all I'll say, okay? But having said that, let me just go on and tell you about a couple of things coming out of the state. One of them, of course, being the Empire State Digital. The Empire State Digital Initiative encourages small businesses to expand beyond their physical brick and mortar location to an online marketplace. The initiative connects small businesses in the state with the education, access, and resources needed to digitize and adapt to COVID-19's impact. Partners include Square, Shopify, Etsy, and Clearbank, all of whom are offering some discounted services to businesses signing up through the Empire State Digital Program. And by the way, y'all, am I talking too loud? because my wife is here and she thank you. My wife is saying I need to keep it down, but if you guys are good,
we can hear. We can hear. Thank you, Curtis. You're good. You keep going. You're good.
Thank you. Okay, now two programs that I'm about to announce, they have not yet been executed or commenced, but I'll give you the overview because they have an attractive feature. They have a G as opposed to an L, and G, of course, is what? A grant, and the L is a loan. So we don't need any more debt. Okay, so the first one, and this is the big one, is the $800 million COVID-19 pandemic small business recovery grant. And you notice I said small business. I didn't say nonprofit. I said small business recovery grant program, and provides grant funding to small businesses and for-profit independent arts and cultural organizations impacted by the pandemic. The grants will be flexible and can be used for a number of different business needs, including payroll, rent, or mortgage payments, taxes, utilities, PPE, or other business expenses incurred between March 1st, 2020 and April 1st, 2021. Grant amounts and application guidelines are currently being finalized and will be announced in the coming weeks. Okay. And then, of course, Carrie, I know this one, especially because I have been longing for what? I've been longing for a good old restaurant crawl. Okay, so here we got the Restaurant Resiliency Program. This $25 million grant program will be managed by the New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets. It'll provide funding to restaurants that choose to provide meals and food to people within distressed or underrepresented communities. The grant can be used to cover the cost of food, preparation, and delivery of meals. Grant amounts and application guidelines are currently being finalized and will be announced in the coming weeks. Okay. Now, of course, one of the things that certainly you have to know is that we have a lot of small business workshops, technical assistance workshops that, as we used to actually do in person at the state office building. Now, because of COVID, all of our content, all of our small business workshops are online or virtual. We have a webinar presence, big time. And we have them at our website, which is www.harlemcdc.org. You can access and see what are some of the upcoming workshops that we have. I can certainly tell you that with the workshops that Harlem CDC has, we have quite a number that have been really what we can call very, very well attended. I'm going to actually cite a few right here. And they are, let me just see if I can get this out here. Oh boy. Why, oh why, when you're looking for something, you can't find it. Oh God. You know what? Okay, you know what? I'm just going to, oh, here it goes. Our top 10 webinars in 2021 so far are Financial Management, Intro to Bookkeeping, PPP, Forgiveness and Tax Implications of PPP and EIDL, Take Your Pitch from Good to Great, How to Launch Your e-commerce business, Create the business plan that's right for you. I'll stop there, but I definitely encourage you to contact our office about some of the upcoming workshops. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to do something that normally you don't see a president of a corporation do. I'm going to give you my not only my number, but also my email address. So I left it right there in the chat. I encourage you that if you have any questions about anything, hit me up, give me a call. And Marissa, what I say, give me a call because you know how slow I am in terms of typing, right?
Curtis, I was going to say, don't bill us for this information now. I know this is valuable information that you're providing here, so don't bill us for that. But absolutely.
You are very welcome. And Marissa, what I'm going to do, this particular sheet or my cheat sheet, I will email you a copy, and if you want to disseminate it amongst the membership, fine, okay?
Yes, that would be great. We always try to, get information out to the community. So,
Mhm.
and of course, please let us know of upcoming virtual events that you will be holding and
Okay.
hosting, so that we can get that information out as well. Quick question for you. So
Uh-huh.
I know you mentioned two grants.
Yes.
Excuse me, two
The G,
grants.
the
The
G
G word, yes, very. There's a big difference between the
Big
L and the
difference.
G.
That's right.
The first grant, what was the name of that
Ah,
grant? That
yes. The first one that I mentioned was the Pandemic Small Business Recovery Grant Program.
Okay.
That's the first one. And then the
Okay.
second one, of course, being the Restaurant
Right.
Resiliency Program.
Okay.
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 And
That sounds like the I Love New York, but it may be
you know
different.
what? It could be. Sometimes
A
they
different
blend
name.
stuff.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I see. Okay.
Yeah,
That's the same one.
Just the same one, right?
Gotcha.
Okay, just a different
Got-
amount. Okay, perfect. And that's still
Okay.
being worked out. The pandemic small business. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
And one of the things I have to say, so Harlem CDC, in terms of real estate, we no longer do real estate. Okay, in terms of real estate projects, or if you see a real estate project happening that may have state involvement, all of that now is being coordinated downtown out of the main headquarters, 633 3rd Avenue. Okay.
Okay.
So the last real estate projects that may have had a Harlem CDC involvement are, of course, the Victoria Theater. Because when I was hired in 2006 under the Pataki administration, Gargano, he called me in his office and said, "Curtis, you do this deal, you can write your ticket." Well, 4 governors later, okay, so that's one. And then the other one, of course, being the National Urban League. That's the other project on 125th Street that had Harlem CDC involvement. And then that's it. So now all of our involvement in terms of the small business community is in the form of workshops, technical assistance, seminars, and also partnering with strategic partners such as Uptown Grand Central and others.
Perfect. Thank you, Curtis. Thank you. And continue to partner, with the community through certain projects and things that you have coming up.
Okay.
We are always looking to get information out about how we can partner, and then also what you're doing that others may want to partner with you on. So,
And Marissa, don't hesitate to contact me, okay?
always. Thank you,
Okay.
Curtis. I
You got
appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by and letting us know what you're working on. Are there any questions before we move on? I'm not seeing any hands. Curtis, you did a thorough job.
I'm just going to leave. I'm going to leave you with one last thing. This is it. And Carrie, you know about this already. And that, of course, is Community Economic Revitalization Support Program, or CERS. That is a program that nonprofit organizations can apply to. We have an online application process. And then suddenly, other people came on, like Melody. Like, whoa, go ahead, Mel.
Hi, Curtis.
How you doing, my dear?
Well, thank you.
Man, oh man. So it is an online presence. You can apply. It's rolling. It goes up until October 31st. But I encourage you to look at it and apply. If you think that you reading the application guidelines that you can do something within those confines, I encourage you to apply. Okay.
Curtis, before you leave, if you can drop that in, if you could drop a link, is there a link to that, or is it on your website?
There is not a link on the stuff that I sent you. Actually, I'm sorry. Yes, it is, because on the stuff that I sent, my the web address is there. And if you, as I say, drill down in the web address, you will go to the grant guidelines.
Okay, perfect. Okay,
Right.
thank you. Just wanted
You're
to know
very
where we could access that. Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you for stopping by. As always, glad we got you in before the end of the year.
Absolutely.
So we have one more meeting left, but thank you for everything that you're doing within the community.
You're very welcome, y'all. Take care.
Oh,
I'll be
hold on.
here.
I'm sorry. There's one. Is this a question? Dawn?
It's just a thank you. I think you're very modest about the work that you've accomplished over the last 4 administrations. Just want to shout you out again and thank you so much, and hope that you can continue forward with the work that the projects you've begun, and it's good to have a a person of color every once in a while at the top of organizations as well. I'll just leave that right there.
Well, Dawn, you know I miss you already, right? And so you got to come back on our board. You know that already, right?
I would love to do that.
All right.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
So I'll
Dawn.
be here. I'll be here because I definitely want to see. I want to see my man Dimitri do his thing, and then also Marcus. Yo, you got to do it, okay? All right. So I'll be in the background, y'all.
Thank you, Curtis. Thank you so much. All right, thank you. And so moving on, so we have Dimitri here, Gatenas from Urban Garden Center.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
Good, good. Thank you for being here. I was patronizing your business last weekend.
Oh, thank
Actually,
you.
2 weekends ago. But thank you for coming today. So I know that you have been active and I guess working more so with the Friends of La Marqueta. So please, you have the floor.
Okay, so I'm actually here representing Urban Garden Center specifically, and I wanted to have the opportunity to introduce the La Marqueta Vendors Association as part of that, because it's sort of there's sort of an upcoming issue that we share that will affect the market. So I just want to update everybody if they know or do not. Well, first I want to say thank you very much for the opportunity to be on this call and in this meeting. And I thank you all for your tireless effort for and on behalf of the community. We really do appreciate that. But I wanted to have an opportunity to address a concern that we have specifically regarding the upcoming MTA work. There's some capital work that's scheduled by looks like sometime next year, which will in part displace Urban Garden Center among other entities operating under the rail tracks. And there's a lot of uncertainties and lack of information and other things that generally happen when an authority like the MTA commences a capital project with very little public information out there. So I just wanted to let you all know that there are plans to displace Urban Garden Center. There are plans to stop the operations of La Marqueta in general as part of a capital project that is slated to start in the spring of 2022. So I felt it was important to share the information. I really don't have much more to share other than that, and I think that it's going to be quite devastating to the vendors. It's going to be devastating to the patrons of the businesses, and it's going to be a distraction in general for the community, because this train has always sort of represented a sort of border between East and West Harlem. It's done very little to contribute to our community other than provide a lot of shade and noise and other things that surround themselves around these train viaduct stanchions. So we feel that it's important that we let the community know that this is happening and that we're reaching out for some help. And we hope that the community is able to at least inquire through the channels, wherever they may be, to find out more information. Because as far as we know, the train seems to be working just fine, and there are no emergency repairs needed, and there's nothing. Apparently, it's safe for us to occupy the space below it. So we would love to understand why they want to commence such a grand project this time post-COVID, after all of us have been through such a hard time, to basically disrupt our community, because there's really no other reason other than that. But I'm sure the MTA will be able to maybe provide some clarity and information about that, but it's not being provided to us at this time. The New York City Economic Development Corporation, which represents the city of New York, which manages La Marqueta and is our landlord, and for all intents and purposes, have been very good to us. They're communicating with us, but they too are not receiving the information as they should. So we hope that we can get your support in some way or form, perhaps put this matter on the ongoing agenda. If it hasn't already been, I apologize for not knowing that. If it has been on, I apologize for not knowing that, but that's where I'm at. I'm happy to answer any questions in the interim, but I also wanted the opportunity to have Edward Rodwell or Anthony Mariani of the La Marqueta Vendor Association introduce the association to the public and to this committee. So I look forward to hearing from you. Any questions?
Dimitri, the other two individuals you mentioned, are they on this call now, or
I believe they are. Yes, I believe they are. I think there may have been some. It could be mostly related to me, how I presented the request to be on the agenda, but I think my intention was not to eat up the positive messaging that the LMBA is going to announce, and I wanted an opportunity to voice my concern about our existence.
So thank you, first of all, thank you so much for coming.
And,
I wanted to, I had a few questions, but I think you said Edwin or Edward? Edward is one person, and who is the other individual?
Anthony Mariano.
Anthony.
He's currently not on the call.
Oh, okay. So Edward, yes, please proceed, and then we'll take questions afterwards. I just want to see, if your update actually answers any of my questions before we move forward.
Thank you very much, Marisa. I would like to thank everyone for letting me present to the floor this evening. My name is Edward Rodwell, and I am a business owner here in East Harlem. My business is Amuse-Bouche Bistro, and we're located inside La Marqueta. We have created a new 501c6, which the reason why Dimitri and myself, who are both member of the board of La Marqueta Vendor Association, which is a newly formed vendor association, wanted to introduce ourselves to the community board and get the opportunity to let you know that we have formed this group to help the vendor of La Marqueta within all the Marqueta projects. So that's include the inside of La Marqueta, but also the various businesses that are within the whole complex. And our determination is really to give a voice to all the vendors and the small businesses, and to be able to work with larger organizations and elected leaders and the different various community groups. So this is just a brief formal introduction for us to your group. We look forward to work with the people on the call today that we haven't worked yet. We know a lot of people, Union Cinnamon and Pablo, and we work a lot of those people, and Sandra, and obviously Kerry from Uptown Grand Central is someone we work a lot with. But this is a new group. We're a new energized group of small businesses that would like to participate into the great work that you guys have been doing, and continue to give help, feedback, and energize the small businesses. So we want to stay vibrant, listen, and able to help and funnel the information that you give to the group here, and when we possible continue to get the floor. So that would be it. We're a small group. We will hopefully introduce ourselves more formally through a letter to your board, but we look forward to do some work in the future.
That's great. Thank you, Edward, and also thank you, Dimitri, for speaking of not only the Friends of La Marqueta, but also what is coming down the pipeline. This has not been a topic of discussion for our committee thus far, so I'm happy that we are talking about it this evening, and then also, trying to figure out, what can be done so that there's minimal, I guess, impact on those that are under the viaduct. So you have not received any information as of yet specifically stating that there's a need to do this, or you just have not received any general information? What have you received? What information have you received about the need to do this at this time?
Well, I mean, we just, there was just the fact that they want to do some kind of update on the train. And I just find it interesting that, 6 months ago they were crying and begging for money.
Broke. Yeah.
Yeah. And then now they have this, a windfall of cash to basically disrupt our community. And the one thing that represents La Marqueta is small business. I mean, that's the whole concept of this. It's supposed to be a place where vendors, those who want to get started in business and what have you. And also it's an opportunity for people to use space that hasn't been utilized smartly over the years. This is now an opportunity to sort of reinvent underused city space. And the MTA, with all their prowess, is going to literally dismantle this, literally physically dismantle this for some what I think is a vanity project. I don't know what reason this has to happen other than that. We would love to have them meet Mr. Musk and maybe build a magnetic tunnel underneath our community, and then maybe provide some light and what have you, and remove some of this noise that we have to live under all day long. But unfortunately, this is what we have. This is the information that we have, and it exists. And it's not in any way to smear the great reputation of the MTA. This is actually a call for help. We want to communicate with them. We want to be a part of the program, part of the process. And I feel that if we don't do a little pushback, I mean, they could just literally wipe us all out in one fell swoop. And that's sad, because the city spent a lot of money on renovating this market. Right. And we've had, everybody's worked very hard to see this thing stay alive. And, you could see Edward, he's a hard worker. He's working his tail off in the market, trying to build up a business there. And all of that's going to disappear very quickly once we're interrupted.
Right. And I'm thinking about the need to not only one, do this at this time, but then also if there is a way that this could be done where you're not disrupted, right? Like if there's a way to kind of work around this because of everything that has already gone on during the pandemic, everyone's now trying to rebuild. And so now to have to rebuild and then move, seems to be a huge hurdle. You guys are a huge part of this community. You're a huge part of the economic impact, of the neighborhood. And so, even if you were to move, has anything been offered to you in terms of assistance for moving? What that looks like, or what has been the forward-thinking conversation about what's going to happen, if MTA moves forward with this? How would this look for you and others in La Marqueta?
Well, there's a lot of uncertainty, as I stated before. However, the EDC has made it clear to us that they're going to do everything they can to support some kind of seamless transition, perhaps move us somewhere temporarily. There's also this sort of underlying open idea of a new market that was introduced a few years ago as part of a grander affair, something to do with the rezoning and what have you of East Harlem. There was money set aside to renovate the market spaces, and that all is going to be put on hold, of course, until this is resolved. And they are discussing the concept of us moving to another lot, like lot 1, which was what we call lot 1 is like 111th Street, between 111th and 112th Street, and which it is also the place that they want to permanently put us at some point down the road, which we feel that needs to be relooked at. That whole entire renovation of the plaza and the market buildings and urban garden center was put in place several years ago, pre-COVID. There's a lot of new concerns, new goggles, new eyes looking at this now, and we all have different experience and a different stature in the community as far as where we stand financially and what have you because of COVID. And just any move is a tough one for a business anytime. This one is a displacement, frankly, and even if we have a soft landing, it's going to make an impact. So even if
Absolutely.
the concern isn't of Urban Garden Center, even if the concern isn't of the vendors or the consumers that patronize the places, there is going to be a physical impact on our community once again. Whereas the noise will be unbelievable because it's like a little canal here on Park Avenue. It's like it's echoes and what have you, and it's just going to be a disruption. So the likelihood of Park Avenue being an viable economic corridor is going to be put on hold once again, thanks to the MTA.
Right, right. So, well, yeah, I want to, echo in regards to this being an area that is, extremely busy and can do even more with being stable and where everyone currently is, right? And the disruption of moving can cause, a lot of confusion for people that are not here, that are looking to come. It's a headache. It's not only a headache, but it's also a economic hurt for the businesses that are there. So I want to continue this conversation to get more information from not only MTA, but then EDC to see what's going on and to see what the actual plan is when this is looking to take place, what they're thinking about in terms of businesses and get some more information and see how we can, assist in coming up with some solution that's possibly better than what's on the now. I do want to acknowledge Giselle. You've had your hand up.
I did. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My question was answered through Marissa's questions, but I think if how much time do you have? Like, did they say when the project was going to start? Just so that we have some way of like, if anyone wants to reach out to the MTA, we have some way of identifying what's the name of the project or when they want to start or who exactly contacted you from the EDC and let you know that the project was going to start.
Well, if you're addressing the question to me, hi Giselle, thank you for the question. Well, we do have an on-site liaison at La Marqueta now. Very nice young lady who's worked very hard for us so far, and she just got started only a few months ago. And you'll probably, if you have stopped by or if you've just driven by or walked by, you'll start seeing some changes, physical changes. They added some plantings. They're adding more inviting presence for the food businesses to operate in a beautiful way on 115th Street. But the problem is I don't know that there's a name for the project. It's very surprising to me to know that this committee hasn't even heard about it yet, considering what a serious economic impact it will make on our community. And that actually speaks volumes for my concern. The fact that I mean, we haven't even heard about it. We hear about how the city
We've been talking a lot about the Second Avenue more so than this.
Or yeah, which is great. Yeah, but it's not. This is something that you have this train operating at decibels that are much higher than legally allowed in the city of New York or even the state of New York for that matter. You have this corridor that's really sort of uninviting and scary to most. In fact, even patrons may not cross over from the west side, or at least even from East Harlem to the east side of this train, because they're frankly scared, or whatever the reasoning is behind it. And I mean, what has this train or this entity done for this community? Specifically, the Metro North Railroad, I should say, not the MTA, the subway, but the railroad. I mean, they have a stop on 125th Street. Has anybody really seen any kind of economic impact, positive economic impact because of that train stop? Probably not. And frankly, they brag about how many people were commuting into the city, about 100,000 people a day. I mean, even if we had a fraction of a percent of that exposure to the community, it would be uplifting for us. But they've actually done nothing. They just pass through, and they make a lot of noise, and the minute they want to get something done, this is what they do. So we're gonna cooperate with them. We're gonna let them do their thing. We're not gonna interrupt their process because we think it's for the greater good of our, or at least it appears to be for the greater good of New York City. But we have some individuals here, like Urban Garden Center, like, you know, like a Sprinkle Splash, like a Moose Bouche, like Mama Grace, who's a fixture of La Marqueta. We're all done. We're done. And this is going to be very difficult to put back together if somebody doesn't push back a little bit.
So Dimitri, we are, you know, here to support and obviously want to get some more information from both EDC and MTA to see how we move forward with this and what this looks like. And I'm happy that you were able to come and shed some more light, you and Edward, to shed some more light on this topic and what's coming down the line. And we don't have a timeline. I guess we need to try to speak about this soon. You know, because who knows what's going on behind the scenes in terms of moving forward, but we definitely want to support, you know, however we can with ensuring that the businesses that are here are protected and the right is done from your side. So we will continue to have a conversation. Edward, did you have your hand up?
I just want to clarify one thing is I just want to say that we're different from Friends of La Marqueta. Our group is the vendor association, La Marqueta Vendor Association. I just want to make sure to clarify there is no confusion.
Yeah.
We are working with Friends of La Marqueta, but we're completely different entity.
Got it. Thank you. And thank you for that absolutely. And thank you for that clarification for the record. So we will continue this conversation. Are there any other questions on this topic before we move forward?
No.
Okay, seeing none. Thank you both so much for presenting. We will be in touch in terms of how we can assist moving forward.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you both for presenting. So now we have Marcus Johnson from MAP, Mayor's Action Plan, presenting on the upcoming Entrepreneurship Program. Thank you for waiting, Marcus.
Yeah, no problem at all. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So what's up, everybody? Hope all is well. My name is Marcus Johnson. I'm the program manager with Wagner Houses, working with the MAP team. And so we have a lot of different acronyms with my organization. So I want to break it down to you as best as possible. And I'll also will try to present my screen just for a brief moment to share a little bit more in detail, like what we do with our resident stakeholder team. And so again, I work with MAP as a program manager, working out of Wagner Houses. Also a little bit more context, I'm a East Harlem native, born and raised over here. Also family born and raised in Wagner. And so MAP is a joint initiative with the Center for Court Innovation and the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice. And so now together they form MAP. And MAP is located in 15 out of the 326 NYCHA developments.
So Marcus, I'm so sorry to stop you. Are you looking to share your screen?
Not at the moment.
Yet? Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure before you started. I was like, okay, we don't see anything yet. So I just wanted to make sure you weren't going off of a screen that we didn't see.
Oh,
so
no.
Please proceed. Okay.
Yeah, it's all good right now. And so, yeah, MAP is in 15 out of the 326 NYCHA developments. And so the overall goal is to reduce crime. And so now these 15 developments accounted for 25% of the violent crime that was going on in these NYCHA developments. So the numbers were very high. And so what we do is we have a lot of placemaking activations in order to really just bring the community together and have them interact with their neighborhood in a very different way. And so a lot of it is about changing the perception and the mindset of residents and basically the behavior that we want to help residents kind of assume is that they need to visualize their environment as a place that they need to maintain and keep safe. And so it's called crime prevention through environmental design. It's like this community organizing work is very difficult because a lot of what we're trying to do is to change the mindset of people, and changing the mindset of anybody is a very difficult task. And so, I'll just say that. But I work with a resident stakeholder team in Wagner Houses, which normally comprises of about 15 residents of adults, seniors, and youth. And together we work on resident-driven priorities, such as safety and justice, health and wellness, and youth development. And we work with CBOs and city agencies, and we have like fellow partners in this room right now. So got to give a shout out to Carrie. Carrie has been doing great work. And especially on 125th, you know, I'm 3 blocks away from that area. So anytime that I'm seeing some kind of improvements going on in that area, my ears perk up a little bit more. And then, you know, like we have Melody Capote, who's also been involved with our work as well. And so, I'm sorry if I'm probably missing a couple of others, but yeah, so we work with community-based organizations and city agencies to help amplify resident voices to execute on these deliverables. And through our work throughout the 5 boroughs, we have actually had a touch point of over 60,000 residents, and we've had access over $550,000 to really help elevate and amplify these resident-driven priorities. So, so yeah. I have a couple of links that I want to share with you to kind of show you visually about the work we have done specifically in the Wagner community. So I'll drop it in this chat real quick. And this is a very nice video about Wagner Green Space that really captures the work that we have done in the community, but also shows you how the placemaking work that we have done as well. And so I'll now share my screen for a brief moment to go over our, oh snap, hold up. I got a lot of windows open, y'all. Give me a second.
I'm happy to know that I'm not the only one that still uses a snap.
Yeah, let me, oh no. Let's try it real quick. But what I wanted to say, I'll just speak through it, y'all. I want to share my screen.
Marcus, this is Angel. I have your presentation. Do you want me to put it up?
If you don't mind, that would actually be very.
Not at all. Just give me a second.
Thank you so much.
You can talk while I find it, but you'll give me a second.
Yeah, so again, I'll go through really quickly around a couple of slides that shows you what we show residents who are interested in joining our stakeholder team. And this just will kind of really go through a roadmap of what our organization is and kind of what residents should be expecting to be a part of our stakeholder team. So let me, so yeah, I'll kind of start going through the slides, but again, so I work for the Center for Core Innovation, but in the Center for Core Innovation, I work for the Neighborhood Safety Initiative. And so that's the specific team that works with MOCJ to achieve the work that's coming out of MAP. Again, I know there's a lot of acronyms being thrown around, but if you got any questions, feel free to ask and I can help clarify. And so we have a resident stakeholder team, and we are asking essentially residents to come out and be effective community organizers. That's what the overall message and the overall goal is to help the community bridge the gaps within their community and really just helping them be better community organizers. Okay, yeah. And so can we go to slide 3? Thank you. And so so in terms of like what residents have the opportunity to do by being a resident stakeholder, they have the opportunity to influence policy change by coming out to speaking with city agencies, speaking in large platforms where they can speak with elected officials and really voice their concerns about what's going on the grounds and how they can make a difference on this political spectrum about how we can start to see the changes by, again, elevating their voices so these higher officials can hear these concerns that's going on the ground level. We invest in resident networks. We really tap into the network that these residents have. So these networks are very deep. We tell one resident and it's going to go to 50 in a second. And so we really invest into our residents and making sure that their voices are heard and we nourish those relationships. And as I mentioned earlier, we transform public spaces into these vibrant spaces. And again, I urge you to look at the link. Next slide, please. And so we are facilitators of dialogue. We again work with residents to talk about these resident-driven priorities, and we connect with these city agencies to also support that. And we also empower residents to organize and implement the change that they want to see. All of the initiatives we have done is resident-driven. We have done so many cool things in the community, and it's really off the backbone of the residents. Next slide, please. And so this just shows you a breakdown of our resident stakeholder team. So it's around 3 youth between ages 16 to 21, 3 seniors, 55 and up, and 9 adults, 22 to 54. And then to the right of that is a breakdown of our community-based partners group. So we have a diverse group of not resident stakeholders, but of stakeholders, which consist of CBOs, city agencies, NYCHA representatives, and our NCOs. Next slide, please. And so this right here was a very big culminating event called Local Stat. Local Stat was an opportunity for residents to come out and really say what they would like to do with $30,000 in the community. And so actually what the residents ended up voting on is this entrepreneurship program that I'll talk about in a second. And so by being a part of our resident stakeholder team, they have the opportunity to access these project funds, such as this $30,000 initiative. And they also have the opportunity to build and execute on solutions, again, through these resident-driven priorities. And on top of that, they get a stipend. We want to incentivize that, and let them know that it's not much, but at the same time, we want them to understand that they are valued and that they do get some kind of compensation for participating in the work that we do. Next slide, please. And so this just shows you a couple of the different images of types of work we have done. So to the top left, it's a major food distribution that we was doing throughout the pandemic to really serve, because we saw a vast food insecurity that was going on throughout our developments. And so we was doing major food distributions, are still conducting that now with the help of partners. To the bottom left is some ideas, again, at our Local Stat event in Wagner. To the right is chess pieces. We have all types of cool stuff. And then we sponsor many basketball and sports programs too. Next slide. And so, as I mentioned before, residents have the opportunity to elevate their concerns on a much larger level by speaking to elected officials, to city, like NYCHA representatives on a much higher level. And so that's called Central Stat. And so Central Stat is when all of our 15 sites come together to speak to these officials about what is going on a local level and how we can start to make a policy change to really make some changes. Maybe it's a capital project across our NYCHA developments that can again be impactful on a local level. And again, this is all due to the fact that residents have the chance to raise their concerns on a much higher level. Next slide, please. And so this is an image of our green space that was when it was in the process of being renovated. And I'll just throw another plug to check out that video, as you will see it done in its completion. Next slide. And these are just some numbers that's just kind of really showing you our footprint of how many people we've been engaging and interacting with. And so one of the biggest numbers that I want to kind of highlight is that we have touched 6,100 people to get involved in our Local Stat process. And I want that to just think of it as all those as individuals who have participated and voted in what they would like to do in their community with $30,000. And I think that's a huge effort, because the biggest thing about community organizing is engagement. And I think we do a great job at engaging with the community. Next slide. This right here is just some images of what we have done for activation. So we had a Be-Lit event where we was like a silent disco night, and we had the floor lit up and everybody was outside just having a really great time. This took place in Brooklyn. We have basketball events. We have placemaking in which we've created gardens, career opportunities in which we've hosted entrepreneurship programs, and social programming in which we had coding programs. Next, please. And yeah, so these are just some additional images of work we have done, and you could keep sliding through the rest of the slides. Yep. Just some additional, again, some like different types of images. And yeah, and so this is the work that we have done throughout our 15 sites. Again, I work in Wagner houses based in East Harlem. And right now, as I mentioned earlier, we're working on a entrepreneurship program that the community has voted on. And we're really looking forward to the start of this. It's going to be starting on June 15th. And this will be a great opportunity for residents to, well, youth between the ages of 16 to 24 to learn how to, one, create a business. They'll have the opportunity to collectively create a business plan that will be addressing a community issue. And then we'll also be able to develop a prototype that they can then sell to the community. And those proceeds will actually be up to the cohort's discretion about what they would like to do with it. And so we'll have 2 culminating events. We'll have a youth resource fair, which will be the halfway mark. The resource fair will be a very just fun and engaging is like how I would like to think of it. So we'll have a lot of opportunities for you to have fun, but also opportunities for them to take advantage of like internships, jobs, mentors. And so we want the youth to really come out, not just in Wagner, but also East Harlem as a whole. So definitely would like to work with all of you and really getting the youth to kind of come out and just being aware of the opportunity that's probably right next door to them. Outside of that, we have our second event is our showcase event. And our showcase event will be taking place on September 1st. And that's when the youth will come out and pitch their actual business plan to the community. And they'll have, we'll have other like local Wagner entrepreneurs come out to also showcase their respective products. And we're gonna be, and I also would like to have, you know, we're working to have like respective opportunities for like small business owners, like such as I think Community Small Business Solutions is one organization that we kind of already been talking to about providing some opportunities to first-time business owners. And so these are the type of resources we also want to provide to, again, help amplify what's going on out there. So we want to, again, reach out to local entrepreneurs to kind of come out, bring in the community to build community and to also to generate some profits to the youth for their entrepreneurship program. And so that kind of summarizes what our entrepreneurship program is, and really would like to connect with each of you a little bit more to talk to you about it in greater detail. But right now we're doing a huge push to really get some great community partners together, and one, learning more about it, us coming together and amplifying this as much as possible, and you know, creating the seeds, because it starts here, but it doesn't end here. So yeah, thank you for your time. Really appreciate everybody. I also wanted to say, appreciate your energy as well. Curtis, you know, ever from the beginning, you know, I could tell you have a podcast. You definitely have a presence for it.
Yo, right recognizes right. Go ahead, Marcus.
Marcus, thank you so much for presenting. You guys have been doing amazing work, and I see it. I actually live right down the block from Wagner, so I've seen you guys out in the streets the entire summer, even in the winter, you know, at certain events representing. You guys have been doing amazing work. So please continue. I'm very excited to see this presentation this evening. And also, you know, just referencing some of the members that you work with that are really connecting people and really on the ground. Wugad.
Oh yeah, well, Jude, yeah.
Jude, yes, yes, absolutely. And Josie, I know she's behind the scene, but Josie Hahn, she's working on the Mock J side.
Okay.
So yeah, so I just have, I mean, a general, one thing that I wanted to mention that I was looking forward to hearing about was the event that's coming up on Friday.
We doing so many things, y'all.
So if you could talk briefly about that. And then second question is, what does a primary, or what does a ideal stakeholder look like to you? So is that, you know, somebody just partnering and sharing information? Is that someone who's financially connected to you? Is that someone who is actually doing some of the programming? But what does that ideal stakeholder and or partner look like as you guys move forward?
I really appreciate the question. So to answer the first question, Friday, this Friday, we're actually having a safety fair. So it's, as some of you may know, there was an attack or somebody had been assaulted. An Asian man was assaulted on 125th and 3rd Avenue. And actually he was an Asian man, and he was actually a Wagner resident, right? And so it was very impactful considering the climate right now, but also made it even more close to home considering the fact that he is a Wagner resident. And one thing that we've identified, in the community level is that the Asian population has kind of been isolated from what's been going on in the community. And so now there needs to be a lot more intentional outreach, not only with our Asian community, but with our Spanish community, because like when that language barrier is very real. And so I feel that, this was again, an opportunity for us to kind of come together and show solidarity for our community. And so we wanted to bring partners together to address the issues that's been going on in the community, but also to share these resources and disseminate it in a very thoughtful way. So we're working intentionally with our Asian partners to spread the word. We're working intentionally with other partners as well to just simply provide the most relevant resources to the community. And so this is again going to be a safety fair happening at our Wagner Green Space from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Is located on 120th and 1st Avenue. And so again, it's going to be a great opportunity for residents to just learn about what's going on in the community, but also two, just to have fun as well. Because I think that's a part of it too, just programming the space and just being out there, being active and engaging with residents. It goes much further than people see. People want to have fun. People want to be out in their community. And so, yeah, and then to answer your second question around like, what do I see? Like, what do I look for in a stakeholder? I look for you to be engaged, I to really want to be a part of the community and to like, this has to be something you're passionate about. Like I understand, like sometimes that stipend, people, I want that stipend, but at the same time, I try to like, really make sure that the residents are very much so passionate about what's going on in the community. So what I do is that like, I have them attend a couple of meetings, have them get situated and associated with like what we're doing. And then after that, we have like a follow-up conversation with them individually, like, oh, like, how do you feel about the team? And then after that, I bring them back to the full team, and then we welcome them in, so, but I really look for it to be diverse. I'm also have, a focus on the youth. We need our youth to be engaged into these spaces as well. And so I also defer to my youth and making sure that I'm working with them a little bit more and making sure that they come in involved in this type of work.
Perfect. Well, thank you. I think that if you have, I don't know if you guys have this available, but if you have like a one pager that has maybe something that says, do you want to be a stakeholder with maybe like, bullet points of, here's what you need, or, here's what we're looking for, that might be helpful to also pass out. If that's available, because then people could see, okay, this is what I can do, and here's how I can help specifically. And then separately for partnerships too, like how you guys are looking to partner with the community as well, and other stakeholders that can help further your initiative. I think that might be helpful as well. But your presentation was amazing. You guys continue to do great work. I know that you've partnered with many of the people that are on this call today. So that's a testament to how you guys are reaching the community in different areas, which is great to know. So I want to open the floor up for questions. Also wanted to know, Marcus, we are going to try to be there on Friday with some information. I haven't spoken to Angel yet, but I'm right down the street. So even if I can just stop by for a little bit to hand out, information on the board and being involved and how people can get involved with you guys as well. Hope to see you there for a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Really looking forward to, as I've been saying to people, this is only the beginning. Understand that you're going to be seeing me in these meetings moving forward. I know that we're about to go on a little bit of a break come June, but at the same time, we're going to still be connecting. We're going to still be building, and this is just only the beginning. So
that's great to hear. That's great to hear, and hoping that this all continues on with the new initiatives and the new people in power as well. So I wanted to open it up for questions. Sel?
Hi, Marcus. Thank you for your presentation. You're doing amazing work. So applause to you and your team. I wanted to know if there was a contact information, like an email or something that if we wanted to get in touch with you, we can.
I literally just dropped it in the chat. Just dropped it in the chat. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for your interest.
And any other questions? If not, Marcus, did you have a flyer for Friday as well? Or not?
Yeah.
Did you guys?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do have a flyer. Do you want me to?
Okay. If you could send it over, I think you, me, and Angel are on an email. If you want to send it over, and then we can pass that out to the rest of the board. That would be great. Angel can
do it
send
right
it
now.
out. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Marissa, you have 2 hands raised in the attendees, Marguerite Singleton and Isabella Braille.
Thank you. If you guys can answer in that order or ask your question in that order, that would be great. Thanks, Angel.
Thank you so much. Excuse my voice, my allergies. My question is regarding entrepreneurship. I know Marcus spoke extensively about the youth, yet my question is, does the entrepreneurship program address adults and those over 55 years of age as well?
So, this is one thing I've also realized is that there's also not a lot of programs like this, in which we're really essential. And mind you, this is paid, right? We're paying the youth to be a part of this program, to learn about what it is to start a business and to go on this journey of being an entrepreneur. And it's a 12-week course, it's a 12-week program. And, after these 12 weeks, the journey of an entrepreneur doesn't end. And so that's why the wraparound support is very important. But to answer your question directly is that, this opportunity isn't really geared for adults, but at the showcase event, we again are inviting local Wagner entrepreneurs to come out. And so we also want to have supporting organizations there to, again, provide essential resources to these new businesses, because we understand that this is a journey that is not only impacting youth and that we want to encourage youth to go down, but we also understand that there are adults in the community and that are in this field as well. And just one quick thing I'll say is that in designing this program, one question that a resident stakeholder asks is that, how does this program benefit everybody in the community? And that really made us really look really closely at the program. And so that's why we want to be intentional around the surrounding resources at each of our events, so everybody feels connected to what's going on.
That's fine. That's absolutely great. And I think it's an awesome idea to have this centered around the youth, because for one, they need a lot to do to keep their active minds occupied and progressing. So I think that's wonderful. Yet I did just want to know if that included adults also. Thank you very much.
Marguerite, I did want to say that if you want to reach out to the community board, that there are other resources that may be of help to you. And so we're happy to connect with other organizations that may be of assistance for entrepreneurs and for certain programs. Yes, Curtis being one. Yep, absolutely. And so there are other ways to get that information. And so we will be happy to send that to you, and so you can explore what might be of help for you.
Yes, please. I'm so thankful. I'm here for it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so Melody, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Go ahead.
I just wanted to make note, I've been working with Marcus on other East Harlem projects, and I don't even think he's aware of this, but to follow up on Ms. Singleton's comment, we've been involved in this committee where one of the programs that we proposed as the Caribbean Cultural Center is a stakeholder, a community partner, is that we're working on a proposed intergenerational program that I've been talking to Marcus about since the pandemic started, where we're looking to partner young people with elders from the residents of Wagner to document our own stories around COVID and Black Lives Matter in our communities, And Marcus isn't aware of this, but I've been shopping around a proposal with this idea based on the conversations we've had.
I'm
And
sorry, hold on 1 minute, Melody. Angel. Okay. I don't realize, Angel, you're not muted.
Oh, you were hearing me working. Sorry.
Yes, building a house. I couldn't hear Melody. Go ahead, Melody.
I'm always working, always working.
Go ahead, Melody.
I don't think that Marcus is even aware of this, but based on the monthly meetings we've been having with community partners, one of the projects we proposed was doing an intergenerational program, partnering the youth and seniors from the Wagner houses who would document the stories of how COVID and Black Lives Matter have affected them in this year. And so Marcus isn't aware that just based on that conversation, I've been shopping around a proposal idea to get this supported so that we can bring it to the residents, both elders and young people. And it would probably be a digital project where the young people will be working with seniors to tell the stories through a digital platform. So for many of us kind of over 50, over 60 who are afraid of all these devices and all of this technology, it would be a way of having our young people work with elders on how to landmark the East Harlem community and tell our own stories through our own lens. And so to answer Ms. Singleton's question and interest about how do we partner or bring in the elders into these projects, while the entrepreneurial program may not, there are other projects on the burner that I'm hoping we'll be able to kick off as soon as the fall, if everything falls into place. So I just wanted to let Marcus know that because I haven't seen him in a bit.
Yeah.
And to let you all know that we really are active partners and we'd like to see this happen sooner than later.
That sounds like a perfect segue.
Hey!
That sounds like the perfect segue. No, yeah. There's a lot of moving pieces going on. So we have to lean on each other. And one thing I've seen from doing this work is that a lot of organizations are doing their work in silos. And I understand why, because it's just, we get caught up in what's going on. But I've been I try as much as possible to be so intentional around tapping on other partners around for us to come together and execute as a collective, because showing that to the community that all of us CBOs are together, I think that's a whole different approach going into the community. So I just want to uplift each other by, showing our solidarity to each other as CBOs. So, but yeah.
Marcus, thank you. And Melody, thank you for mentioning that too. I think it's important. And one of the things that we've been pressing this year to say is that this is an opportunity here with these meetings, here with these discussions, to hear about and learn about what's going on. So just one last question, Giselle, before we move on to Melody. Giselle, did you have a question?
Oh, no, that was the
from before. Okay. All right, great. So Marcus, again, thank you so much for presenting. We're going to continue to hear from you and work with you, and hope that we move forward with all of the good work that MAP and the Center for Coordinated Innovation and all the other acronyms are doing out there. And please send us the information so that we can get it out to the community, so that you can get some additional stakeholders and partners with everything going on. And we'll definitely look to support. So thank you so much for presenting.
I have my hand up. I'm sorry, Isabel Abreu from Manhattan President's
Office. Isabel, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
No, sorry. I mean, sorry, I didn't want to just
No, absolutely. Thank you. So sorry. Go ahead.
So I just want to say that Marcus, how long now? How many events? But I know that last year it was really incredible to see your team even through the pandemic remain so active and finding so many creative ways to keep engaging the community, and how your team was so attentive to the needs that were there before and the needs that were exacerbated by the pandemic. And the beautiful work that you do. And I always, tell people that I love events where you have more people than tables, right? Because there are events where you have a lot of people tabling. You have 40 partners, but the community is not coming out. And when it's the MAP people, your team, they do the work, people come out, and also the amazing support during Open Street, Pleasant Avenue Open Street, which was one of the best open streets in the city, and how that presence was there every weekend, made it so much better, that reliable partnership. But most of all, I want to commend you for mentioning that this upcoming event, and I'm sorry, I'm long-winded, people. I don't know how to keep things succinct. I have to practice. So that event Friday, and how you mentioned that, this effort that is being made to bring the Asian American Pacific Islander community, which is a demographic that is growing in East Harlem. And, historically, East Harlem is about that. It's about waves of groups coming, settling, thriving, moving on, opening the way for others, and that beautiful diversity. When this attack happened, and for a few days, I was like, oh my God, nobody's saying anything. I sent an email. I think I copied you, Carrie King, right? To other staffers from local elected officials saying, oh my God, we need to say something, to do something, because this is not a community we are. And this hit home so personally, because when I first arrived here in the United States as an immigrant, my first year here, I gave birth to a daughter, and she had health issues, and she died. And so my second year here, I don't even know what I was thinking. I get pregnant again, and I was the victim of a hate crime, in the sense that there was somebody who hated people of my nationality so much that when she saw me pregnant, she took a stick and tried to kill my kid in my belly. And that's my son. He's 25. He's okay. And that in order to go to work, I had to have police escort me to work and from home, because I wasn't safe. Like, this person just didn't, it wasn't about me. It was about my nationality, and that she didn't think another person from my country should be born in this country. And to me, when this happened, to Mr. Ma, it was so personal. And the greatest inspiration and satisfaction that I have in seeing that, the way the MAP team has embraced this issue, and has been working so diligently in trying to find creative ways to make the Asian American Pacific Islander community welcoming and protected and integrated here. And you're doing an amazing job. And that's who we are. And there will always be bigots that will think that communities are monolithic and that they belong to one group, and communities are not monolithic anywhere. They don't belong to one particular group. It is, we're just humans on this rock going around the sun every year and not falling off. So we're amazing. And that's the way we are supposed to be. And what MAP does is nothing short of amazing. Thank you for that, because it really, for me, it really made me go back to that time when I was victimized for something I have no control, because if I could have chosen a place to be born, I would have been born in Norway, right? And it was difficult for me to see that happen to another person, and to also understand that the family is so afraid that they really want to leave the community. And I know that that's not who we are, because I have been here 25 years. This is the only neighborhood that my son knows. And we love this, and this is home. And I want it to be home to everybody. And what you're doing, you build community like a pro. I mean, it's beautiful. Thank you to you and Ujar and Ramon and all the members of MAP. You do it well.
Thank you, Isabel. Wow, that's very humbling. Really appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. I needed to see what you're doing. I needed to see that being done, because when you suffer a trauma like that, when somebody threatens your life and the life of your child and your womb, it's difficult to get over that. Like, it's very traumatic. And just because you come from a place they hate, like, I have no control. I can't change that, right? And for me to see how some people were making comments about the Asian American Pacific Islander communities saying that they are opportunistic, they just go to communities to make money, and saying all kinds of really ugly things. It made me go back to my own experience, where I, like everybody in this country, I was just, looking for opportunity in, honest, decent ways. And that I think we need to keep our eyes open, because we are each other's keepers, and these things happen. But this type of building coalition, like it was done, and there's a beautiful WhatsApp group chat that I'm part of that I don't participate heavily, but I'm seeing the amazing ideas and how people are so excited, and what you're doing to really connect with that particular community. Fear shouldn't have a place here, because community is community and family, up to me, are synonyms, and there's no place for hate or fear. And thank you for all that you're doing, for embracing this cause.
Isabel, thank you so much for sharing and sharing some very personal information, but also saying how this has impacted you. And I'm sure, Marcus is wowed by the impact that the work that they has had on your life and things that have happened to you. And just sending a small token of prayer to you. I know that you were just sharing, but I'm imagining that was hard to even share, but glad that this work is impacting you in the way that it is, to be empowered. Thank you. Thank you, Marcus. So we're going to move along. I know, Melody, thank you so much for waiting, and we are thank you for coming back.
Thank you.
And we are now opening up the floor to you for your request. And if you could give us some context on what this is and what you're requesting, and how we can move forward, we would be happy to hear from you.
Sure, thank you. I am Melody Capote, Executive Director of the Caribbean Cultural Center African Diaspora Institute. We are located on 125th Street between Lexington and Park Avenues. And this evening we are requesting a letter of support from the community board to support a series of requests that we have before us for both public and private support of what is potentially the expansion of our physical presence in East Harlem. For those that don't know, the firehouse that is located at 120 East 125th Street is now home to the Caribbean Cultural Center. It took us 10 years and the raising of $9.3 million to renovate the firehouse into what is now a state-of-the-art facility that, for all intents and purposes, celebrates the common thread we share as people of African descent. So whether you're from Jamaica, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, Cuba, Trinidad, the one thing we look to do through our work is look at the common thread we share, which is our root culture in Africa, and we present programs that celebrate the cultural contributions and creative expressions that we've made to the world. That's our work in a nutshell. We present exhibitions, concerts, conferences, and a lot of programming in and out of school time that brings our history current, that looks at our history through an Afrocentric lens, and to be quite honest, really presents history more accurately than what is presently part of the school curriculum. So when we talk about when the slaves came, we correct that by saying when enslaved Africans were brought and stolen from their home to the Americas. When we talk about the foods we eat, right? When you look at the plantain, fufu in Africa is mofongo in Puerto Rico, is mango in the Dominican Republic. And so we look at the commonalities we share, and yes, there are differences, and the differences really coming from what is colonization in our homelands. But the center finds itself being the place that we hope will continue to be the mirror or the reflection of the community of East Harlem as we quickly see gentrification coming into our communities on steroids, on bulldozers, wanting to change our neighborhoods and wanting to change who we are. I was really moved by Dimitri's presentation earlier about La Marqueta, because I remember La Marqueta being the place where my family shopped for those foods and those things that could only be found under that Park Avenue train track. And so we come before you today with this request for a letter of support, because when we presented last month, I suggested the possibility of our organization being able to expand its footprint in East Harlem. And I say again, with all the changes and what is kind of being tossed at us as the betterment and the development of East Harlem, we also know that with this move, we're being erased, we're being destroyed, we're being eliminated from our neighborhoods. Affordable housing ain't so affordable for the folks that live in East Harlem. And so what we've been doing is negotiating and meeting with developers, anyone who'll sit and listen, meeting with folks to see what it would mean for us to expand our presence in East Harlem. And we have before us an opportunity that would allow us to expand into a 5,000 square foot space. Well, we're presently in negotiation with the Richmond Group to see what it would mean for us to have a space in one of their buildings on between 125th and 126th Street on 3rd Avenue that will allow us to have a space that would provide art performances, spoken art, spoken word, music, dance, drumming, and digital programming. But most importantly, we see this space being an artist entrepreneurial initiative where artists, particularly in this last year, we created a project called DEAR, Digital Evolution Artist Retention, where we trained 36 artists immediately who had been put out of work because of COVID. We had about 26 artists employed in our in and after school programs who immediately lost their income, their jobs with us. You know, right, as we all know, COVID shut everything down. They also lost any gig opportunities because there was no place to gig. And if the artists also had jobs like bartenders or wait staff or salespeople, all of that was shut down. So we trained about 36 artists of color to prepare them for when the doors open up and really get them to a place where they would be just as competitive and viable to hit the streets and hit the workplace when the scene starts to open. We've now done our second round of Dear Artists, so we have now trained over 72 or about 72 artists. And the idea would be that in this space, we will create a community artist entrepreneurial initiative that would help the artists develop as small businesses and work with local businesses throughout Harlem to become more of a business and not the notion of the starving artist, which is what we typically know artists to be. And so our request is as follows. The space under consideration, as I said, is located on 126th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenues, and it's part of a parcel of a larger complex that is being developed on 125th Street. Subject to final negotiations, our organization, Caribbean Cultural Center, African Diaspora Institute, is prepared to engage in the build out necessary to make what is presently raw space into what we have tentatively named the East Harlem Community Arts Center. The Arts Center will house a performance space, studio space, digital programming space, meeting space, and what we're calling our People's Studio, so that artists and young people will have an opportunity to come in and create work in partnership with community artists and community members that we can gather in a space that we can call our own, that reflects our experiences, and that creates a space where community comes together to celebrate its creativity and its cultural contributions. Before us, about a month ago, we had the opportunity to present before Congressman Adriano Espaillat as the federal funds that were being earmarked were going before him. We did not make the first round, but we've learned in the last week that there's an opportunity to go back for some support for the build out of this space. And so I come before Community Board 11 to request a letter of support that's speaks to the importance of keeping an organization like ours, not only in the firehouse, but as we look to grow and expand our presence. Again, being the mirror and the cultural anchor on the east side of 125th Street that says that African Americans and Latinos are still here and are here to stay, and not that as development comes, we be erased and become a plaque on a wall that says we used to be here. That's it.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Melody, for just breaking down the expansion and what you would like to see for the organization and also for the community as well in terms of a hub and a place for artists to grow out. I have a few questions before we move forward. So I just wanted to clarify where the space was. Is it between 125th and 126th and 3rd Avenue? Or
Yes.
is it one?
Well,
Okay.
it's 3rd Avenue between 125 and 126. It's the
Right, okay.
MDC building, the Media, Education and Culture, Entertainment and Culture building. But the entrance to the space that's been designated or identified for us, the entrance would be on 126th Street, has its
Okay.
own entrance and has a dedicated elevator that would be just for folks coming to the space.
And okay, so and then second question, is this is this an additional site, or will you be moving everything into the site, or will you
It's
be
an additional site. It's
additional site?
expanding our
Okay.
footprint. Mhm.
Okay.
So we see the firehouse being our headquarters, and presently we have 2 gallery spaces in the firehouse space, which will continue to exist there. So it would be our headquarters as well as the gallery space. And the 5,000 square foot that we're looking at would be where work actually gets created, supported, and shown. We're anticipating that we'll have a seating area, a performance seating area of about 100 to 150 seats. So that performances can happen there, not just by us, but community members could come in and use the space as well to present.
Okay, great. And then I guess you're still in negotiations with the space, but has a cost been identified as of yet, or no?
Part of the negotiations we understand is that the space will be made available to us at no cost.
Okay.
The developer is also putting about $300,000 in initial build out. We know that's not enough. This is an absolute rare raw space. So we are prepared to raise the funds necessary to outfit the space. But it is being part of the negotiations that were done were that the space would be made available to a community not-for-profit organization. And
Okay, got it. That's a part of the program,
yes.
the offering. Okay.
Mhm. And the recommendation was made by Council Member Diana Ayala that we be considered.
Great. So I want to open the floor for questions from the committee. This is something that we will be voting on this evening. So I would like to make sure that everybody is clear on not only the ask, but any other pending concerns or general questions you have before moving forward with a vote for this initiative. Okay, any questions? Okay. So I would like to open the floor for a motion from the committee to support the letter of request for the expansion of the Caribbean Cultural Center Africa Diaspora Institute's additional community art entrepreneurial initiative space. So Giselle?
I would like to pass a motion to support the letter of support for the Caribbean Cultural Center African Diaspora Institute to request federal funds from Congressman Adriano Espriella.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second by Dawn.
Okay. Angel, do you want to take a roll call?
Adem Briham is absent. Marissa Mack,
Yes. Support.
Zoe Malave,
Yes.
Don Sanders,
Yes.
Vinny is absent. Jenny Tromsky,
Yes.
Nye Whitaker.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Right. So Melody, we have passed the motion to write a letter of support for the expansion of the cultural center. And so I know that you did provide us an example, and so we will look to also create a letter and send it to you and those that would need to receive it. We will be bringing this up at our full board meeting, which is next Tuesday. Angel, please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, 25th.
Yes, so we will bring this to our full board meeting for a final vote, but you have our support here from the committee. And so we hope that this is something that will move forward and will come to fruition for you so that you can continue your good work. And also, I think it's important for cultural institutions to think about different ways to engage with artists too now, you know, and I think the pandemic has allowed us to see, you know, okay, when one situation isn't available, what are some other ways that you can still be an artist and also provide income, you know, for yourself in different creative ways. So happy that, you know, this is something that is on the table, and fingers crossed that this will open up a door and help you to move forward in your entrepreneurial program.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so Giselle, are you able to present on the budget items that are still outstanding? I know most of our requests thankfully have been answered and we are moving forward on, but I know there were still some that are outstanding. So Giselle, the floor is yours. Thank you for your help with this.
Of course, of course. Okay, so I have an attachment that I can send you guys, but because to go through it, I think it's like kind of redundant, but we did get most of our asks funded. And I can pull that up quickly because Angel emailed it to me again today.
Angel, do you think you could share? I know she said, let me see. Hold on. Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Angel.
And
so
if you could expand it for those old folks like me, I can't see. Thank you.
So we divided it up into 3 sections. One was funded, one was not funded, and one was the funding is uncertain. So the responses are next to the 3 parts pretty much. So if you see funded, the response from the agency is accommodate within existing resources. So it's funded, but they're pretty much saying like, we already have something that, you know, can help with that or can assist with that ask, you know, look further into that. And we just divided it up so you guys can see what was addressed, what we still need to kind of work on, or as a committee, you know, see if we want to keep it or, you know, what could be done. And then funding uncertain. I think we also, with the funding uncertain, Marissa, when we spoke to the NYPL, we had touched up on the library hours and they said that that was also something that they were kind of like aware of and working on, but I don't know, it's just pretty much there, but I didn't want to like put it in the funded section.
Well, they're already doing, oh, sorry. Yep, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, in terms of the library, the hours, so because of COVID, that obviously that's something that needs to be fleshed out. I know that they were using the library for other things and other initiatives during that time, but we can circle back in regards to the hours, especially now that we are starting to open back up and the library has been a huge resource, especially for career development programs, and like other small business programs too. So you can
Okay. I'll make a note of that. And then I just wanted you to look at the funded section where it says like provide, expand occupational skills training, provide, expand occupational skills training. Again, it was funded, but I think like you said, we need to just circle back and see like what exactly is the program that can help us, that we can tap into to address, which was the expansion of the industries, the fashion films, all that. If you scroll down a little bit there, we had spoken about giving testimony for the items that have not been funded yet. And you can see that it was pretty much three asks. So it's to address the nonprofit, the support for the nonprofit cultural organizations, like the one, like the lady that just presented, I forget her name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, Ms. Capote.
Melody.
And the expansion of the programs in the fashion industry, film, food, life sciences, healthcare, and then again, the occupational skills and training program that we had just spoken about. I wanted to fit in there financial education, employment opportunities, home ownership education. I think that can all kind of go bundled up into like training program skills for high level skill jobs. And that's going to happen on the 25th. That testimony is going to happen on the 25th. And so, Marissa, I think I have your permission to speak on that at the public hearing.
Yes, no, absolutely. Giselle, I want to thank you for, the year is not over, but just your work on this particular area in regards to the budget and making sure that we're staying on top of our requests, and then also the responses as well. Yes, please. I will be there too, but I am thankful for you presenting on behalf of our committee and your work in this space this year. So I'm happy to note most of our requests, again, we were able to speak with the agency directly and or get it funded. And I think the responses coming for the upcoming year are going to be a little bit different. And for next year, we'll probably want to continue this conversation, because as we open up, these responses are going to change, right? And the ways that some of the agencies are going to be able to move will be a little bit differently than how they've been able to respond and or move this previous year or this current year still. So thank you.
You're very
Thank
welcome.
you.
I could not do anything without your help, without everyone else's help on the committee. Angel, Carly, you guys are all amazing. So that's the only reason I'm able to do the little work that I do. But I wanted to also encourage everyone to read the mayor's message. Carly, I think, sent it out. I'm not sure if she sent it out to everyone, but if we can somehow, I can send it from my phone to everyone as well. The mayor's message, and it gives us like a better scope of how much the small business services is getting, I believe, in the fiscal year 2022. It's an approximation of 317.6 million. And that's going to operating expenses at SBS. It's divided up, and it kind of goes into detail on how it's divided up and how much, who gets how much. Workforce Development Division. It's not too long. It's about 2-3 pages, and I believe it's on page 198 that it corresponds to our Economic Development Committee. So if everyone can just take out maybe some time and read those 3 pages, because I think it'll help us with the next process of this year's budget. And then also the recovery budget that Carly sent out for fiscal year 2022. I think that some of the things that we can benefit from in this committee passing it forward is the summer youth programs. They're hiring a lot of youth this summer for just jobs. You take them, let's say a small business wants to hire 3 interns. It's like kind of like a paid internship, but the city pays them. So that's an information that we can give to the small businesses too, because that would put the youth to keep them busy, and it would be a help for the business owners as well, because that's payroll that they don't really have to worry about. There's a clean and green message that the mayor puts into the recovery budget. And the clean and green pretty much has to do with giving like jobs to like those people who are displaced, like the homeless. And I believe it's other individuals that, you know, pretty much probably don't have an income right now. They can be used to clean and the city, and, you know, that's a good initiative too. It's like a low skill job. It's for individuals who, you know, have like those, they don't really have those high skills. So but we can still use those, you know, those things that they maybe may do, and it keeps the city clean. The tourism idea that the mayor had, I think he's launching, I don't know how much, but I know Carrie had mentioned the NYC and Co. That's a part of the tourism, and it's all under small biz. So if you guys can just also take out the time to go over the recovery budget, not the whole thing, just the part that, you know, that would help our committee. And I think that's, you know, it's a good approach, but maybe going into the budget this year, just knowing that all of those resources are being funded, all of those programs are available, we can use you know, the most to our advantage here.
And Giselle, the good thing about I think some of the incentives that or some of the initiatives that you mentioned, Angel has sent out a lot of information on those, which is good too. So hopefully people have seen that that's familiar. I know like the green program that you mentioned, and also for the summer youth employment, that has definitely been disseminated out to our community. So hopefully as people look at that, they'll see and actually have a vision for what was mentioned in those line items. So thank you so much.
Of course. And then I think that's, I will have more information for you guys after the public hearing on the 25th. And that's it. That's my part. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Giselle. Are there any questions for Giselle before we move forward? Okay, so we are at the end of our very hearty meeting, chock full of tons of information for our community. I am so thankful for everyone that has come on this evening. New business, is there anyone that has any new business to discuss quickly? Okay, any old business? Okay, final roll call, Angel.
Sure, just one clarification from earlier.
Yeah.
When the discussion about the rehabilitation, the reconstruction of the viaduct on Park Avenue, the rehabilitation project will be from 115th Street North. So the actual La Marqueta building, as it currently exists, is not going to be impacted by that project directly.
Okay.
Everything from 115 North, not everything, from 115th North to,
okay.
I believe it's 119th Street, the entire viaduct is going to be subject to that rehabilitation. And my understanding is that it would be a replacement of the viaduct. Are we reaching out to the to Metro North to get them to come and make a presentation? They've been a bit hesitant about coming earlier. But that bit of information I can share that I was aware of, and I think it was important to share it just to give some clarity.
Perfect. Thank you, Angel. Yeah, because I was thinking that it was under the entire above ground area.
Yeah, so the whole viaduct is seeing different kinds of work, but 115 to 119 is going to be replaced completely.
Okay. And no indication as to specifically why.
The state of repair of the viaduct that's over 100 years old. And
right. Okay. Just,
I think that's my general comment. I think it's for them to speak more specifically.
Got it. Okay. Thanks for some clarity and context, Angel.
Yeah, no problem.
Nai?
I just wanted to clarify, Angel. So that means that would impact La Placita, which they just invested in redeveloping, correct?
Correct, and they would be on the hook for replacing it completely as it is, or as it was at the moment that they demolished it or impacted it. So yes, it's a shame, but it's what it is.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, just a note, guys, real quick, we have one more meeting. June is our last meeting until we pause for the summer. So, you know, I will be just sharing some information about the year and, you know, some of the work that we have all done together on this committee. I think we've had a very informative last few months, and we've helped some initiatives and done, you know, a lot of work. So just wanted to make that note. And if there's nothing else, Angel, if you could do the roll call.
Sure. Adem is absent. Marissa,
Okay.
Giselle,
Here.
Dawn,
Here.
Vinny is absent. Jenny,
Here.
Nye,
Yeah.
yeah, quorum.
Okay, great. So thank you all for hanging in there. It's a long meeting, but good information. We will be sharing out what the information that we've received this evening, and I'll see you all at full board. Thank you so much for all of your work. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much.